Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. So today I am going to be discussing my top 10 favorite attractions or things to do in Ontario, Canada. So for those of you who do not know, Ontario, Canada is the only province of Canada I have ever been to in my life, but I also have been really wanting to go check out other provinces like Quebec, Prince Edward Island, where Anne of Green Gables, a very popular TV show that is Canadian based, was filmed, and other provinces in Canada. But anyway, um, in the meantime, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, go ahead and like this vlog or video, and please leave a positive comment below. I got my hot coffee here, and of course I spilt a little bit of it, but I'll have to make sure I clean that up. Now, it is actually in the middle of the afternoon, and believe it or not, here in greater Cincinnati, it is freebie weeky, as they said at United Dairy Farmers. And what I mean by freebie weeky at United Dairy Farmers, or UDF for short, it means that at United Dairy Farmers, you can actually go up to any UDF location with their app, and you can redeem a coupon or two, and you can get up to 2 items free per day per app. So today's free app, or freebies, whatever, were a free large iced coffee and also a free coffee cake. So that was actually my breakfast this morning, believe it or not. And even though I really didn't need another coffee because I had 11 hours of sleep last night, I really wanted something else to drink, and I didn't really necessarily want any more water. So I decided to make myself a hot coffee because, for a change, I actually like to get to sit down and take my time having coffee. And I like my Tim Hortons coffee, and I figured it was very appropriate for my discussion today, which was my top 10 favorite attractions or things to do in Ontario, Canada. So anyway, I figured I would start with number one, which is kind of an obvious one, Niagara Falls. So Niagara Falls is literally one of my favorite places in Ontario, Canada to go to. Excuse me 1 minute. Got tired of holding that. So, whenever I go to Ontario, Canada, not only do I like to go visit my grandmother in Niagara Falls, which is all I'm going to say about that, but also I like to go to the actual falls itself, and I like to go and see the falls. I like to go over the Tim Hortons right there. Back in the day, there was no Tim Hortons literally right by the falls, but within the past couple of years, they actually did go and build a Tim Hortons right there, right in front of the Horseshoe Falls, which, I mean, not the Horseshoe Falls, sorry, right in front of the American Falls. So, for those of you who do not know, Niagara Falls is a very, very long walk. You have your American Falls, which you can see from the Canadian side, and then you have your Horseshoe Falls, which you can see from only the Canadian side. Anyway, as far as Niagara Falls itself, typically you start out on one end and you walk all the way down to the Horseshoe Falls. You can actually walk literally right up to the actual waterfall itself. Now, keep in mind, jumping over that fence, which is actually a lot easier to do than you think it is a life and death situation, and I would not recommend it unless you want to die young. And even if you do survive, you'll end up in the hospital, and then once you get out of the hospital, you'll be awaiting the Canadian police because it is illegal to jump over the falls. Many people have attempted to jump over the falls, but only so many have actually survived. And how people have survived, they've gone over in a barrel. And I can tell you right now, your odds of surviving, of jumping over the actual falls, are 1 out of whatever. I don't know. The falls are for looking at, not for jumping over. So if you're going over there just to jump over the falls, you're wasting your time. There are plenty of dining options to do in Niagara Falls, but I personally love to go to Niagara Falls just to go look. Um, the reason why I mentioned Niagara Falls first is because I've actually filmed it twice. So the very first time I ever filmed it was back in 2019, and it had just gotten hit by a recent snowstorm. And then I filmed it again a couple of years ago while it was pouring down rain, and that was actually on my actual birthday this time. And I have not seen it in 11 years on a beautiful day, which I would love to do again, but it is what it is. I will tell you right now, the best time of the year to go see the falls is during the summer or right after it snows, so that would be my recommendation anyway. Alright, number 2, Niagara on the Lake. Niagara on the Lake is actually about 20 minutes away from Niagara Falls, but it's still in the Niagara Falls region. Niagara on the Lake is a major touristy shopping district for people who are looking to buy Niagara Falls apparel, merchandise, or just looking for something to do in the Niagara Falls region. The problem with doing anything in the Niagara Falls region, it's going to be busy, and it's going to be touristy, and you're going to find lots and lots of places where they're going to charge astronomically high parking rates. Now, Niagara on the Lake does have its own parking place, but it is expensive still nonetheless. And even then, once you do get over there, there's going to be a lot of people walking around. But if you can look past that, it's actually really nice to go to. And this is a place I've only been to maybe 3 to 5 times in my life. Niagara on the Lake, in my personal opinion, is the most beautiful during the summer. However, though, during November is actually not bad either. But I would, strongly recommend the spring, the summer, and the early fall if you're looking for the best time of the year to go. Notice I'm not just going to tell you why you should go, but when you should go. When I'm also going to mention why I like to go too. The reason why I like Niagara on the Lake is because, like, for me personally, I like their fudge. So they have one of the best fudge shops around. Also, you can find some really neat stores you cannot find anywhere else in the entire world. Um, there's some really neat restaurants around that you can eat at around there. If you're like willing to spend a pretty penny just to do it. Let's see here. Also, Niagara on the Lake has some other really cool stores that you can go into that are similar to what you can find out in other downtown areas, but still uniquely designed just for that specific area. For me, number 3 would be Toronto. So I have been to downtown Toronto one time in my life. That was about 7 years ago, coming into the summer, actually. Um, I was actually in Toronto because I was up there for a wedding, and we had some free time, so we made it our effort to go up to Toronto for the day. Notice I said up because Toronto is actually up from Niagara Falls, but down from Western Ontario, where my aunt and uncle live, and that's as much as I'm going to say about that. My aunt and uncle, my mom's brother, that is a retired engineer is all I'm going to say about that. And I did some really neat things. Once again, I have this all on YouTube. Niagara on the Lake, same thing. If you want to see it, it's on YouTube as well. Ah, oh, that was good. Oh, that was good. So, one of my favorite places that I got to go to while I was in Toronto 7 years ago was the CN Tower. Excuse me, 1 minute. That's Katie. She's probably done work for the. So anyway, I got to go into the CN Tower, and there is actually a specific spot where you can stand on glass. Now, I'm not going to dig through my pictures, but I do have a picture of it, of me on the glass. So I got down and I leaned on the one knee just to show how brave I was. And honestly, the glass is very indestructible. It's built to hold a bunch of elephants. Not that I would put a bunch of elephants on there anyway. But honestly, if that glass were to go out, just based on where I was standing, I would fall at least a couple of miles. And by the time I hit the ground, I'd be dead. Even if I did everything I possibly could to prevent my fall, I would either be dead, or I would be crippled for the rest of my life. It's hard to say. And knowing me with my lack of experience in falling at incredibly high speeds without a parachute from a couple of miles up, I would probably be dead by the time I figure out how to protect myself. So it is what it is. So yeah, I did that, and I did not get to go to the Ripley's Aquarium, which I think would have been really neat. But I did get to see a couple of other things like Castle Loma, and I did get to walk around the city itself, which I've only driven through it, but I've never actually walked through it until 7 years ago. So definitely a neat experience. The CN Tower is a Canadian government building. Just for those of you who do not know, now you do know. Number 4 for me would be Canada's Wonderland. So Canada's Wonderland is a theme park off of the 400, which is a major highway in Ontario, Canada. I would safely say it is not too far from a city called Milton, Ontario. And Canada's Wonderland is also a Cedar Fair park. It is a neat park. So, for those of you who do not know much about Cedar Fair parks, like you've never seen any of my Kings Island vlogs, for example, basically Cedar Fair parks are well known for their roller coasters, their incredible theming, their icon for the park, and then they also have exclusive restaurants that basically make the park very specific. Like this specific restaurant, is specifically geared just for um, this particular park. Like, for example, Kings Island has two specific locations that literally make Kings Island unique for a Cedar Fair park. So you will not find a Grater's, let alone a Skyline Chili, in um, Sandusky, Ohio's park. Uh, Not Carowinds, the other one. I'm trying to remember what it's called again. Oh yeah, Cedar Point. You will not find a Grater's and a Skyline Chili in Cedar Point, but you will at Kings Island. And you will not find a Skyline let alone a Grater's at Canada's Wonderland. However, though, you will find a Tim Hortons at um, Canada's Wonderland instead. So I think that is kind of neat that Canada's Wonderland has a Tim Hortons in it. It's like, each of the parks has its own unique thing that makes it, who they are. And Canada's Wonderland and Kings Island, in my opinion, are very similar in how they are set up. However, though, I have noticed that Kings Island, is like the mirror of of Canada's Wonderland. Then again, I have not been to Canada's Wonderland in a long time, so I would not know. For me, number five, this is kind of an average for me. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I like it, and that's the best way to put it. Anytime I put something on number five for me, that means I kind of feel either way about it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I like it, and I enjoy it every single time I go. So, not too far from my aunt and uncle in Western Ontario, about half an hour away, give or take, is a place called Berry Farms. And that would be number five for me. And yes, believe it or not, this is an attraction of some sort in Ontario, Canada. I know, crazy, right? And it is something that I have done numerous times over the years. So I usually go with one of my aunts, my aunt that lives out in that area. And we usually go in, we pick up strawberries and raspberries for that matter. And we spend usually a couple of hours out there. We go on a tractor pull trailer, and it takes us to a specific area. And we pick up strawberries, and then we take it back with us. We pay for it, and then we take it back to the house, and she makes jam with it. And she's very good at it, believe it or not. But once again, like I said, it's not something I love, but it's an enjoyable experience and gives you time outside, and it's only a seasonal based operations attraction. So like Canada's Wonderland is, by the way. And if I had the money and I lived, close enough to a farm, I go enjoy doing that. Now, as far as I know, there are farms nearby, but I never had the money to do it. So it's not like I would just rush out and go do it either. Number six for me would be Algonquin National Park. I've only been one time in my life, and I think that was within the past, I don't know, 7 years, maybe more. I don't remember now offhand. And it is out towards Ottawa, and it's a long ways out. I mean, it's a neat place. It really is something else. And basically, um, once you arrive at Algonquin, it's a mixture of walking trails, campgrounds, and places where you can go out and canoe, kayak, you name it, it's available. I got to spend an entire weekend out there years ago, and you know what? I really enjoyed the experience, and I would definitely do it again. It's not something I would do for an entire week, but it is something I would definitely do again. You do have to keep in mind if you ever do go out on Algonquin National Park, it is very dark, but in some ways that is nice because if you really wanted to be able to see the stars, there is a specific area where you can go, and my aunt and uncle apparently know where it is, and you can really see the stars at night. Also, you have to keep in mind that there is a lot of wildlife out there, like boars, bears, moose, you name it, skunks. You're gonna see it. It's not like there's any avoiding it either. So you gotta be mindful of that. And since it's a ginormous campground, it's not like you're going to be able to just find help. Like, say, for example, you get stranded or something out while walking or hiking or boating, you're kind of on your own. And unless you have really good phone service, I don't know what to tell you. So, always come prepared. Always come with somebody who knows what they're doing. It's not a place that I would recommend somebody who doesn't know what they're going like on their own or whatever. Um. Anyway, number 7 for me. Gotta think about this one for a minute. So I did look it up, and it was actually pronounced Casa Loma. So I apologize. Number 7 for me. This one I've only been to one time as well, and this was years ago. I had to really think about this one. And number 7 would be Killbear Provincial Park. Now I don't remember offhand where it is, but I know for a fact that it is within an hour of where my aunt and uncle live in Western Ontario. Killbear Provincial Park, their mascot is the black bear, and I personally did not see any black bear personally while I was out there, but it is another really good place to swim. Um, Walking trails are excellent. Really incredible views, by the way. And if you really want to pack a lunch, another really great place to pack lunch. Number 8. Now I don't know offhand how much people would like this place. Now the reason why I'm putting this at number 8 is because this is special to me, but this doesn't mean it's just special to everybody else, and they're just my empty water bottle. So Meaford, Ontario would be number 8 for me. The reason why I put down Meaford, Ontario is because I spent years going to Meaford, Ontario as a child going into my adult years. The things I like to do in Meaford, Ontario to this day are go down to the cemetery out there where my mom's parents are buried, and which I'm not going to say exactly where, but there is a cemetery, and I know exactly where that is. And also, I like to go swim in the Georgian Bay, which ironically happens to run right past one of the parks that I grew up going to as a kid. Once again, I'm not going to say where that is for privacy reasons, in case one of you decides to come and find me while I'm spending time with family, since sometimes we do make trips to this specific park. But I will tell you guys right now that yes, the Georgian Bay is a bay that I have spent years swimming in my entire life. Um, Number 9, in my opinion, would also be Kincardine, Ontario. So Kincardine, Ontario was ironically the town where the family cottage was for a very long time, for years and years and years. And a cottage is basically a Canadian summer home where Canadians can basically spend um, going to, and they can do their cook their meals there. They can go boating. Boating is a big deal in Ontario, by the way, and also in Kincardine, Ontario. That's also where Lake Huron is as well. And believe it or not, my former family cottage, by the way, is blown up right by now. So I don't care if you guys know this by now, but the family cottage was 5 minute walk from Lake Huron. I spent years swimming in Lake Huron, and it was a really nice experience. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I got that experience while I did. But nonetheless, Lake Huron is a thing of my past. I doubt I'll ever swim in it again, but I'm glad I got to enjoy it while I did, as the cottage is no longer there either. So number 10 is a tough one for me. It's a toss-up between Brent Spence, Sprint, Brent Spence, cannot talk, um, Bridge, which, if I'm saying that correctly, by the way, and because I've been getting tongue-tied. So basically, there is a park where uh, Canadians like to go to watch the Canada Day fireworks. So that would be one of my choices. Um, Another choice for me would be, um, sorry, I'm itchy. I apologize. No, that's not a choice. I'm just itchy. Was. Um, Once again, I need to pause it. Another option for me would be Port Carling. That's actually the same town that some family friends of ours have a cottage in. Once again, I'm not going to say where it is because of the fact that that's privacy reasons. I've been to Port Carling one time. I really enjoyed it. They also love boating, and they're very good at barefoot skiing. I never thought I would ever see somebody actually be able to barefoot ski, but guess what? I have in my lifetime, and I was like, "Whoa, that is really cool." Um, Once again, I got to pause it. I guess Lundy's Lane would be my final choice. I don't really remember where my friend Lynn, my close friend Lynn, lives. I like to call her my aunt, and I'm not referring to my mother. I'm actually referring to another Lynn. She's been on my YouTube channel before, but I wouldn't say where she lives, but like where her cottage is. I shouldn't say lives. She lives actually where my dad was raised. So anyway, as far as where her cottage is, I don't remember now, but I do know that that would be my other top 10 choice. But since I don't remember it, my other third choice would be Lundy's Lane because it's another touristy area. But honestly, if I had to narrow it down to one of those, my choice would be Port Carling. The reason why is because it's in an area I don't get to see very often. It was absolutely beautiful out there. It was off the beaten path. And also, it is, different. It's not same old like I'm accustomed to. If anybody does not know me, I will tell you right now, one thing that you guys should know about me that you probably don't know already about me. See, TJ is a creature of habit, if you don't know him well. I am a creature of habit up to a point. I'm a creature of habit on how I get ready, and I'm a creature of habit as far as like what I do on my days off, but only up to a certain extent. But I don't really do things the same way. Like, I'm always doing something different on my YouTube channel. I don't eat out of the same places. I don't always tend to travel the same way. Sometimes I like to switch it up. Sometimes um, I go to different locations. I always fill up at different places. I fill up wherever it's the cheapest. Like yesterday, my dad was nice and he took me over to United Dairy Farmers. I don't always fill up at Speedway. Sometimes I fill up at UDF. It really just depends on what's convenient for me. The point is, I like change. I like things different. I thought I was going to be with Answers and Genesis for the next year or two, and here I am working for CVG Airport, Chick-fil-A, and Terminal B, and I never thought I was going to be doing that, and my schedule is like all over the place. And I don't honestly mind. I really don't. I know I'm thrashing around the camera quite a bit. But the point is, when I go on my vacations, I mean, I like some consistency, but for the most part, I do like to switch it up. Sometimes I like to do this, sometimes I like to do that. Like, when I take Katie down to Florida next September, and that's as much as I'm going to say about that. I don't know when it's going to be, but I do know that next September there are going to be some things I'm going to be doing for my very first time, and also there are going to be some things that I'm going to be doing that I've already done before too. But at the end of the day, um, I'm always willing to try something new, and that's kind of how I feel about going to Canada as well. And yes, there are a lot of things that I like to do the same old. But one thing my parents have always taught me about over the years is that change is not a bad thing. It really is not, and I'm okay with that. I really am, and I'm like, okay, if we're gonna do something different, then cool. But anyway, so those are my top 10 favorite attractions in Ontario, Canada. My next vlog for today is actually going to be discussing my 8-month anniversary with Katie, as I'm finally coming up to my 1 year, and then I can finally move on from there to the engagement discussion. And I think you guys will really like that one, because that one's going to be a little bit longer, but that will finally start getting us caught up to where we are now. In the meantime, I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.